territory. We don't have any guests in, so I don't have to remind them just about the signing in and whatnot, so we'll just go on with the adoption of the agenda and the minutes.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have no delegations tonight, so go to computer checklists. Recommendation?
The recommendation that the accounts payable computer check and EFT listings dated October 30th, November 5th, 6th, and 12th, 2020 be received for information.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So general governance, Stampede Park lease, memorandum of MOA stands for what?
Memorandum of Agreement.
Okay, for the COVID housing as temporary use at the Longhouse. We had a presentation here a while ago, and here's the recommendation now.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the Deputy Corporate Officer and Legislative Services Coordinator dated November 12, 2020, Council approve entering into a memorandum of agreement with the Caribou Friendship Society for their lease of the Longhouse located at the Stampede Park to permit temporary added use of COVID housing on the premises through to May 31st, 2021.
So moved.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Hopefully we won't need it, but development approval procedure amendment bylaw number 2337 for 2020.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the planner dated November 6, 2020, development approval procedures amendment bylaw number 2337 2020 be introduced and given first 3 readings.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Permissive property tax exemption bylaw 2342 for 2020 for adoption.
The clerk's note that the City of Williams Lake permissive property tax exemption amendment bylaw number 2342 2020 be reconsidered and adopted.
So moved. Second.
And this is for the use for Christ property that's been sold. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Nelson, I'm assuming if you're opposed, you will, otherwise we'll assume you're okay?
That's correct.
Thank you. Correspondence, minutes of the Central Caribou Joint Committee meeting held October 28th, 2020.
Clerk's note that the minutes of the Central Caribou Joint Committee meeting held October 28, 2020 be received.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Change approval for use of lake harvester on specified areas in Williams Lake.
Clerk's note that the letter from the Ministry of Forest, Lands, Natural Resource Operations, and Rural Development, Water Management, dated November 9th, 2020, and attached change approval for the City of Williams Lake, file 5003029, authorizing the use of a lake harvester equipment on areas of Williams Lake as specified therein, be received for information.
So moved.
Okay, I have a question of staff, I guess, and when I read through it, because there's some areas that I don't think go to the areas that as far as we need to, and particularly for the float plains and whatnot. And it says in the deal we have 30 days to appeal. And I went through their website and everything to try and figure out if we do appeal, does it stop the process, or can we just have amendments? If we register an appeal, would we be able to, I don't want to stop it, and I don't want to have it just canceled at this stage of the game. So should we put in a notice of appeal for to change the areas, or should we wait until next year? Who can answer that question?
I can answer. So thanks, Your Worship. The permit, that looks more like a housekeeping error because there's no reason why we wanted to have the weed harvesting done in the aerodrome. And if we don't go quite to the property that has the airplanes, it doesn't really satisfy what we're looking for. So we will have discussions with Flinro and we'll just ask for them to change that. We don't have to do an appeal or anything like that.
Okay.
We'll change the areas and just work that way.
okay.
And then regardless, we'll work with them next year and say this doesn't suit what we're trying to achieve, and therefore we need to have this go farther. And I don't think it should be an issue.
Okay, and some of the areas on the map, I can't believe by that map that area is only 6 feet or 2 meters deep. I think it's got to be deeper than that. But
Your Worship?
the different shades of blue on the water. So anyway, we'll check that out anyway, and I guess we'll have to prove that.
Yeah, so when we start running the piece of equipment, what we will have to do is, those are just from the maps and from their offices, looking at the contours and stuff like that. When we're actually running the equipment can't go that shallow anyways.
Right.
So we'll be out there with a weighted string, and we'll be measuring the 10-foot depth. And what you see in those drawings, there's an actual shape file that will follow GPS coordinates on the machine. So we'll know when we're getting outside those GPS coordinates and stuff like that, so be able to maneuver. It's there, it's more to avoid that small area where we go in and we start digging up the ground and we disturb the turtles and all that kind of habitat.
Or ruin the machine.
That's right, or ruin the machine, like, that's right. So we weren't really gonna go in those areas anyway, so
Okay.
that was the intent, so.
Okay, good.
I do believe Councillor Nelson wanted to say something.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I appreciate what the ministry has done here, but I think this is really an initial start. We put this application in well over a year ago, I guess. And we applied for the entire lake to be done. The ministry came back and said no, so we applied for half the lake to be done. And what they've given us is a few little cat chews to munch on here to get started. So in my opinion, I think we take what we've got, but obviously we go back and we look to do the right job, and that's to clean up the entire lake and to ensure that obviously with the plans that we're trying to bring forward with the waterfront development, that we move to clean up that whole end of the lake. That area where and this is really where it got started, was inside that aerodrome, from that floatplane that just about flipped over. So thanks to Gary's tenacity, he went back and said, hold a second, you missed really one of the big pictures inside this box, and that was the safety of floatplanes landing and getting caught in the weeds. So from my perspective, I think this is a start, but obviously I think the community has been encouraging us as a council to reinvigorate the lake, make it more cleaner, make it more safer, and make it more usable. And this plan that's in front of us just simply doesn't do it. It doesn't even meet the test of standard litmus test, in my opinion. So I appreciate Gary's comments, and I think we should have a recommendation that we go back after this passes to ask the ministry to expand this to make it obviously much more prominent in terms of where we originally came from. And really, I think Councilman Al has alluded to previously that if there are people in other areas that want to utilize this, like at the other end of the lake, then I think the lake has no bounds. We have to move to ensure that the entire lake is cleaned up and cleaned up properly. Weeds are going to come. It's been a bad year for the last 2 years with the lake going up and down, and it's only getting worse. So I'm very supportive of moving forward with this, but I think we have to make sure that we continue to double down on making sure we clean this lake up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your worship to
CAO,
Councillor.
and then Councillor Bain.
Your worship to Councillor Nelson. So absolutely, Councillor Nelson, they're well aware of where we want to go with this process. We want to be able to do a larger area. So we will use this 2-year term to demonstrate proof of concept as well as proof of our responsibility when dealing with the environmental concerns that they have with the turtles, the sturgeons, and all the other waterfowl that they were concerned about. We'll demonstrate that we're being responsible, and our second permit in 2 years will be putting in the areas of North and South Lakeside as well. They're well aware of our intent, and that's where we'll be going in 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I think both Councillor Nelson and CAO Maraka also alluded to things. I was just wanting to know how this is going to go. We already have people asking about being able to get it in front of their yards. Like, I think for that financial end, if we can do it as a business or like in the future, be able to do areas based on not only need, but if we want to charge out for
I'm
the service, if
assuming-
we're allowed, I would really like to see that followed up in other areas of the lake.
I'm assuming they will be the ones that will have to get the permits.
Maybe
from-
that's...
Yeah.
Your worship to Councillor Bain, yeah, right now we cannot address any of the property, say, like on the lake, that's not part of our permit. But again, within the 2 years after we demonstrate the proof of concept, to know it's not going to be a real invasive piece of equipment that's going to destroy all the habitat, we are going to hopefully be able to, at that time, expand the operations of that equipment to North and South Lakeside properties. But for right now, we will not be able to go in front of those properties with the exception of the float plane area and around the, there's a little corner peak there closer to Councillor Nelson's. I don't know the exact location, but it's in the, but it's in the map and stuff like that, as well as the boat launches, the beach, and those are the only areas we're permitted to do. And the timeline is only from October 15th to freeze up. And that, the rationale behind that is because that is season for reproducing for the turtles as well as the waterfowl and stuff like that. And that came from their consultations with First Nations as well as biologists and stuff. So, yeah.
Any other discussion then? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Council information package.
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Wow. Okay, COVID update. I just got I haven't sent it out yet, I just got it this afternoon. There's 18 new cases in Interior Health, 193 active and on isolation, and there's 2 in hospital, and one of those is in ICU, but there's nothing in the Caribou yet. As far as hospitalization goes, you saw the article in the Tribune and on Facebook about the Rona last week, but that's they had called me and let me know what it was all about and got it straightened out. So that's it. So, Councillor Nelson, do you want to go first?
Sure. I just want to really go back to this letter that Sandra Jensen from the Assistant Water Manager. If anybody wants to have their property cleaned or the community to move forward, they need to send us a letter and we can forward on to Sandra Jensen because that's what they're asking for. So I think the community is going to be extraordinarily disappointed on behalf of what the government has given us. Well, very little given us to move to clean our lake up. So we encourage anybody that wants more to be done, send letters to us so we can obviously put those forward to Sandra Jensen to expand our boundaries on this.
Thank you. That's it?
Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Your Worship. I really don't have much on the behalf of council, but I just want to congratulate. We got a refill store called Fulfill Williams Lake. So anybody like myself interested in not having as much waste, it's great. It's in it's in Delaney's, the building. So it's called Fulfill, like it's a refill. So for your dish soaps and it's the decreasing plastics and that. So I'm super excited to see that start up, and I really hope everybody tries to do a little more of that. And also just a reminder that this weekend is the virtual gala for the Caribou Memorial Hospital Trust. So there is a few tables available still if people are wanting to. And they're doing, I just heard on the radio that they're doing it so they deliver the dinner for 8 to home, so to your home. So it's so it's going ahead this weekend. Those are
Thank you. Councillor Bonnell.
All's fine over here, Your Worship. Thank you.
Councillor Rao.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, not much to add. It's interesting being a councillor and community advocate in COVID times when we're not really encouraged to get out and meet with our organizations and that. Since our last council meeting, of course, we've run through a revised Remembrance Day, and this week we've got some committee meetings coming up, as well as on Thursday evening it is the Downtown Williams Lakes, the BIA's annual general meeting, which we're all encouraged to attend. We can attend virtually, so I'll be doing that on behalf of council as liaison, and otherwise it's hoping that we don't get more snow at this point. Snow or rain. Yeah, we need less moisture. Let's just leave it at that. Thanks.
Councillor Brenner.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I was going to call you Your Honor, but I'm not supposed to do that. So thank you very much. I don't have very much to add, but I just want to put out there that I feel that our recreation staff is doing an amazing job as far as managing crowds and interacting with people and just trying to keep the rules and the policies that we have in place, that they are in place for a reason. And I think they're doing a really good job and the best job that they can. So I really appreciate the work that they are doing over there because I don't think it's easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Nothing to add?
No.
Okay. Well, further to the complex and whatnot, and I think they've done an excellent job, and when you look at the revenues and whatnot and how I had Vitaly do me up some figures, because I was over at the regional district on Friday, we had our meeting, and Cornell is their complex is, there's something like $400,000 down in their revenues and whatnot, so they're having issues, and they're looking at possibly they want to try and get some funding from somewhere so that they don't have to lay off staff, because they're hoping it's only going to be a short term. So we have to give our staff and the people of Williams Lake that have been so supportive in keeping our operation going. So yeah.
Add to that too, I feel like we were all really good about keeping it open.
Yes.
We chose to keep ours open, and I think we were lucky we didn't get anybody.
Yeah, we were. So I did the installation of officers, the new officers for the Chamber of Commerce. I also attended with the accessibility group certificate of merit to the Sacred Heart Church for their new elevator and whatnot to their classrooms, which makes it way more accessible. And as the Remembrance Day ceremonies certainly were toned down, and some of us did go to the Legion after the ceremony and whatnot, and they had a big close sign on the door and whatnot, so there was a few veterans they were allowing in and whatnot, but you had to sign in and whatnot, but it was certainly a different Remembrance Day ceremony than I've ever seen anyway. Last Thursday, we spent most of the day at strategic planning at the regional district, and Friday was a CRD meeting all day as well. We also, during that time, Dawson Road maintenance crew had done a 1-hour presentation on all the works and how their process works and whatnot for snow removal at the regional district as well, so I was part of that. Had the AGM for Glen Arbor, as well as we're proceeding, it would appear we're proceeding with the 21 units for seniors housing at Glen Arbor. So the application will be going in anyway. I'm assuming that, but there's going to be a lot of applications in, but because we started the process a while ago and was turned down when BC Housing had changed how they were going to subsidize them and whatnot, we're now with the new call for housing. We're updating that, and it'll go in, and the consultants we're talking to feel we're pretty sure that we'll get the funding. So that'll be good. That's it for me. Staff.
I guess just, thanks, Your Worship. I just want to give an update for the River Valley as best that I can. The staff, including Eric, Hassi, Patton, as well as the consultant and the contractor, they continue to work in the River Valley. We're not completely done. We have about $500,000 to $750,000 that I know of, just related to the fall slide and what we're dealing with right now. So the emergency is not over. They continue to work through these conditions and stuff like that with the snow and stuff, trying to keep ahead of it, but water levels are high. They're higher than they've been. I mean, we're going through like levels at this time of year that we never see. And it's just, the lake was way up, and now the lake's gone down a bit, and now we're seeing it go down the River Valley, and it's taking out roads still in some of the vulnerable spots, and they continue to work. So I think we'd be remiss if we weren't showing the appreciation of especially the contractor and the consultants in the field that continue to do this work, because they're still down there fighting in the middle of November, trying to make sure that when the freshet happens in the spring, these areas, if they can't survive the fall freshet, they're not going to survive the spring one. So yeah, no, I just want to make sure we acknowledge that. For good news and stuff, we are working towards the ceremony. I don't know, eventually there'll be a ceremony about the renaming of the bridge and stuff. So we have some proofs that you guys have all seen. So we're going to work towards that. I have some comments back, and we have the basis in. We'll work with WLFN, and we'll get them to start producing the proofs. That's their side of it. And hopefully in the near future, we'll have some sort of naming ceremony like we had planned to do earlier in the spring. And I think that that's good news. And yeah, I'm ready for that. So that's it for me.
Media.
3 stockpiles of materials from 25 meters worth.
On the Frizzy Road? Yes, there's, the last I heard anyway today is they're in the process of moving the stuff away from the ridge as much as they can anyway. They've been working with staff, and they're in the process, so all is going well so far. Everybody's safe. Okay?
Move adjournment.
You're good? All in favor?
Just like me trying to implement it, there's a lot of back and forth.
Call the meeting to order and acknowledge the meeting's being held on traditional Shuswap territory. We don't have any guests in, so I don't have to remind them just about the signing in and whatnot, so we'll just go on with the adoption of the agenda and the minutes.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Yeah, I had that from New York. I had that one from New York.
All right.
Yep.
We're live. We're live.
We're live now? Well, we're waiting for people to sign in, so we'll wait till they get in and call the meeting before we call the meeting to order then. Yep. Well, you guys are in the same bubble, so you can sit together, but there's a couple over here. There's a couple of seats over here, but yeah, you guys can sit together even if they're not right together, because you...
Right behind you there. Yep.
Yep. Good, okay, well, we'll start all over again. We'll call the meeting to order and acknowledge the meeting's being held on traditional Shuswap territory. And because of what I already said, I see everybody went back and signed in, so that's the protocol, so that if in fact there's somebody has contacted, we have a way of getting a hold of you. So that's what kind of that was all about. So we'll have an adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So the crux of what we're here tonight for this special meeting is a remedial action order for Frizzy Road properties. Now it's about 2 pages of reading, so I'll have our staff read it out. That way everybody will understand where we're at, so that, and then we'll give anybody who wishes an opportunity to come up and speak can do so. So if you'll go through it.
The resolution that council resolved to impose remedial action requirements for 11 properties on Frizzy Road as set out below. Whereas Division 12 of Part 3 of the Community Charter authorizes council to impose a remedial action requirement on the owner or owners of a building or other structure or erection or of any kind, or the owner of land that it is on, to remove, demolish, bring up to a standard, or otherwise deal with it in accordance with the directions of council, a person authorized by council, where council considers that the matter or thing is in or creates an unsafe condition and is a declared nuisance. Whereas on November 10th, 2020, council in open meeting assembled resolved to impose remedial action requirements of the following 11 properties on the basis that they create an unsafe condition. 4005 Frizzy Road, 4007 Frizzy Road, 4009 Frizzy Road, 4011 Frizzy Road, 4013 Frizzy Road, 4015 Frizzy Road, 4019 Frizzy Road, 4021 Frizzy Road, 4023 Frizzy Road, 4029 Frizzy Road, and 4105 Frizzy Road. Whereas the council has now determined the specific remedial action requirements to be carried out by the owners in respect to the properties. Now, therefore, council in open meeting assembled resolves and orders as follows. 1, that council hereby considers the properties pose an unsafe and hazardous condition within the meaning of section 73(1)(a), (b), and (e) of the community charter for both the public at large and the persons occupying the properties. 2, that council hereby considers that the properties pose a declared nuisance within the meaning of section 74(1)(a), (b), (e) of the community charter for both the public at large and persons occupying the properties. 3, that council hereby orders pursuant to its remedial action powers under Part 3, Division 12 of the Community Charter that the owners by November 27, 2020 elect to proceed with the removal of all inventory, accumulated materials, stockpiles, equipment, and debris within 25 meters from the crest of the bank at 4005, 4007, and 4009 and 4105 Frizzy Road, and 15 meters from the crest of the slope for the rest of the subject properties listed earlier. And further, the setback be considered a no-access setback for any person on the properties, including but not limited to its employees, agents, contractors, service providers, and invitees, including members of the public without specific authorization. 4, that the City of Williams Lake advise that the owners may, pursuant to Section 78 of the Community Charter, request council to reconsider the remedial action requirements imposed for the property by providing the City of Williams Lake written notice within 14 days of the date on which the notice under Section 77 of the Community Charter, notice to affected persons, was sent. 5, if the owners do not elect or on November 27, 2020 to complete the removal of all inventory, accumulated materials, and debris, the city may, pursuant to Section 17 of the Community Charter, at its option, enter onto the properties and carry out all or any of the remedial action requirements at the owner's expense and without further notice. All cost recovery options will be employed by the city, including civil proceedings if necessary.
So I guess that kind of lays out the lay of the land. As indicated, there are different setbacks for different properties, and so I guess at this time I'll see if anyone wishing to speak on their particular piece of property, whether it be the 25-meter setbacks for 405, 407, 409, or 4105, or the 15 meters crests for the balance of the properties. And I understand that since the last meeting, some of these properties have already adhered to some of this from the geotechnical report. And so you may know that you've already met some of these conditions, but we had to bring them all the properties together. So yeah, if you'd like to come up and state your name, please come up to the mic, please.
Just like to know if we can have a copy of what he said, because he read it so fast that I don't even know.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure. We'll get copies.
I'm sure we can get them for you.
So maybe while we're doing that, I'll just identify kind of the key points here with what Ross said. Just so it's simple English, and I know exactly what, because it went very fast. So what the city is looking to do is to request the owners of 4005 So what we're looking at doing is asking the owners of 4005, 4007, 4009, 4105 Frizzy Road to create a 25-meter setback, clean all the stuff off within 25 meters, and that property is essentially unusable. 15 meters on the crest from the crest of slope for all of the other properties. So the big ones that we're talking about is 4005, 4007, 4009, 4115, or 4105 Frizzy Road. We're looking to clear 25 meters from the crest back.
Councillor Nelson, should we wait till Lasib comes back so they can put the map up so that they can have a better idea? Or if you know which pieces of property are yours,
that's
fine,
why it's,
but, yeah.
So Part-
I'm sure 4015 before was 15 meters.
No, he meant 4105.
4105. So there's 4 properties that are big on the 25 meters. And I'll say them again. 4005, 4007, 4009, and 4105. All the rest
Our 50,
have to be
meters.
15 meters.
And I think that's where
That's-
you, yeah.
And I think your guys' properties are the 4 ones. So it's a nice discussion, just from a legal perspective, is council's taking the position based upon the recommendation from the geotechs to get all this stuff cleared away from the crest of the toes, or from the toe back, the edge back 25 meters. That's what we're here tonight talking about. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Can we have your copy? Oh, okay, he's going to make copies.
You guys have a place to take this stuff?
So usually we take our stuff to the scrapper, so the scrapper just said, so they're not going to be accepting it.
We can't hear you. You're going to have to come up here and speak.
I think what council is trying to do is to help find a way to solve this crisis of a problem. So we're just trying to, that's why it's a public meeting.
Exactly.
So that we don't end up with the rest of it over the bank.
Yeah, exactly. So the last time we had it geoteched, and they said this is what we should do. Nobody did anything about it. Now here we are again, and we asked for the ditches, we asked for drainage, we asked, and nobody did anything about it, and now here we are again.
The geotech report that we have basically states that you have the stuff on the edge of the bank that has to be moved. That's the banks are caving away.
Yeah, but like the geotech report put forward that maybe the city should buy the land and do it properly so everything isn't sloughing down. And like you guys had reports and you said we don't have the money to do that. We don't have the money, so nothing got done either.
I don't think there was ever any intent to buying the property.
No, I'm not saying that you guys said that you would. I'm just saying we had another geotech and now this is the third one.
That are basically confirming what the other 2 have said.
Yeah, but...
That the stuff has to be moved away from the bank.
Oh, yeah, totally, but we can't get on their property to move it.
Okay, with what we're planning here tonight, the staff will work with you to get the permission you need to get on the property to remove that. And I think that's in the report, and once I thought everybody would have had this report by now.
Well, and I just feel that, like, we have no paperwork, like, so you guys came down, said everybody out, everybody left. Wyatt was told that you guys are going to have a meeting, and in an hour they would come back and say what's going on. Nobody came back. We seen on Facebook we're evacuated. Like, there's no communication. It's just like, what about Frizzy Road? What about it?
That'll be a further discussion. It looks like at this stage of the game, that will be a consideration, and we may have to shut down up that portion of Frizzy Road that's very close to the bank.
Yeah, and basically all we were told is, oh, well, you lost some land. Just get it reassessed, just pay for the land that you have left.
But that's separate from getting the stuff away from the bank.
Pardon me?
That is, the loss of property is part of the reason that you've lost not only the property, you've lost a bunch of stuff that's gone over the bank, and you're going to lose more stuff over the bank the way it's going right now if you don't move it. And that's what this is all about, is to get
it.
Well, how come it hasn't been moved since April when we started this whole thing?
Well, it's been moving it. We have over 100 trailers. It can't be done overnight.
Well, then work with the staff and get what you need to, so that you can get on there and get it moved, but you'll have 2 weeks to get it moved. There are areas there that the geotech says that if we have a thaw now with the snow that came down, it could all end up in the river valley.
Yeah, and when you guys, like when it was a state of emergency and we were evacuated, and we thought that you'd at least do something on our side of the bank, but all the money was for the other side and all the bridges. So
the river
why
valley.
wasn't anything done on our side to stabilize our side?
I guess, can staff answer that? I don't know where you're talking about. Are you talking about down at the bottom?
So we, as staff, investigated every option for Frizzy Road itself. It was private property, and EBC wasn't willing to fund.
Do you want to come up and use a mic? I don't think they can
Let
hear
me
you.
answer this. I'll just repeat what you just said. So, Your Worship, staff looked at every option to explore with the EMBC, Minister of Environment, Forest Lands, Natural Resources. EMBC or Disaster Financial Assistance do not cover private properties. Having said that, the grant application that you had on November 3rd has some armoring around these properties. So we have some applications in front of province for grants.
So in the river valley itself, there has been a lot of work done to try and stabilize the bank so that it doesn't come down. But the way that cuts at the top of the hill are not stable at this stage of the game, and there's no way they can be stabilized from the top down.
Yeah, but it didn't fall, did it not fall from the bottom? Did it not sloughed out? Or did it fall from the bottom down?
Well, as the bottom washes away, for certainly the top is going to come down. But at the bottom part is what they have done to try and stabilize it.
So just to clarify, this current event that has occurred has not happened because of erosion at the toe of the slope. It is a surface saturation event that has happened, and that has caused the landslide. So what you see up there is also because you have a surface saturation, you're on escarpment. So what slid away was you had a bank that you created. It was probably 20 feet down. Now it's 200 feet down.
Can you pull up those maps so that?
Yeah. So if you look at this picture, so your bank used to be somewhere here. So this is surface saturation. The water course is not even around it. It's quite a ways. So once you get a lot of rain event, heavy precipitation, you get surface saturation, and then the bank gives away. So this was not attributed to erosion at the toe.
Okay. Another thing also, we had trucks working down at the river, and they said the train went by and the bank went down. So, is there anything, with the CN or,
CN have been notified, but go ahead and answer.
Yeah, CN has been notified, so the city has already sent a letter to CN. CN has come down and did a site inspection. I can't remember the date, but after October 31st. So they're looking at their property. We have, as a city, I notified CN multiple times so far.
So you don't have a reply from them, what?
We're expecting a response, so not at this time, other than the tracks are safe at this point. They have done that investigation since October 31st.
Yeah, just because every time the train goes by, it
Vibrates.
seems that it moves the
The
land.
vibration, yeah.
Yeah, because we'll probably lose the whole road.
Yeah, that's...
Yep, okay, I'm done.
Oh, just a couple questions. Do you have a location to put a lot of this stuff right now?
A lot of people